70 years ago, the Honeymooners revolutionized television with its sharp wit, relatable humor, and unforgettable performances. Ralph, Alice, Ed, and Trixie became household names, cementing the show's legacy as a comedy classic. But what happened to the stars who brought these beloved characters to life? In 2025, we look back on their remarkable journeys, triumphs, challenges, and personal milestones that unfolded long after the cameras stopped rolling. Join us as we explore how the cast's lives evolved and how this legendary series remains a touchstone for comedy fans worldwide. Jackie Gleason, born on February 26, 1916, portrayed Ralph Cramden in The Honeymooners starting in 1955 when he was 39 years old. Ralph Cramden was a loud, ambitious bus driver who often dreamed of becoming rich while dealing with the struggles of his everyday life. Though often brash and short-tempered, his love for his wife Alice was undeniable. Gleason, despite his immense success, faced several personal tragedies. He had a tumultuous marriage to Genevieve Halford, which ended in a divorce in 1970 after more than 2 decades together. He married for a second time to Beverly Maguire, though this union also ended in separation. His struggles with alcohol and his weight were well known, and he faced years of health problems as a result. In his later years, he became reclusive and spent much of his time isolated. Gleason passed away on June 24, 1987, at the age of 71 due to colon cancer. He left behind a legacy of iconic television moments but also lived a life marked by personal battles. Audrey Meadows, born on February 8, 1922, played Alice Cramden in The Honeymooners from 1955, at the age of 33. Alice was the steadfast and loving wife of Ralph, balancing his outlandish dreams with a dose of reality. Meadows' personal life, like her characters, was filled with both love and sorrow. She married twice, first to a wealthy British businessman, who she divorced, and then to a fellow actor, who also became estranged from her. She had no children, a painful fact she openly acknowledged. Meadows' career was marked by success, but she faced professional challenges, particularly after The Honeymooners ended. She struggled with financial difficulties in the 1970s, particularly after her second marriage fell apart. Meadows' health also declined in her later years, and she was diagnosed with lung cancer, which she bravely battled. She passed away on February 3, 1996, at the age of 73 from the disease, leaving behind a legacy of television excellence and a strong, loving character who brought light to the screen. Art Carney, born on November 4, 1918, played the lovable Ed Norton in The Honeymooners starting in 1955. At 37, Carney brought the character of Norton, Ralph's quirky and loyal friend, to life, making him a fan favorite with his humorous antics and endearing personality. Carney's personal life, however, was marked by significant hardships. He had 3 marriages, with his first 2 ending in divorce. His final marriage to Jean Myers in 1980 lasted until his death, though Carney faced struggles with his health and finances in his later years. In the 1970s, Carney went through financial difficulties, and his second wife's battle with cancer added to his stress. Despite the rough patches, he continued to work in television and film. Carney was deeply affected by the death of his first wife, and he had a complicated relationship with his children. He passed away on November 9, 2003, at the age of 85 from natural causes, leaving behind a career full of accolades and fond memories of his time as Ed Norton. Joyce Randolph, born on October 21, 1924, was an actress known for portraying Trixie Norton in The Honeymooners from 1955 onwards. At the age of 31, she took on the role of Trixie, the no-nonsense wife of Ed Norton, portrayed by Art Carney. Trixie was a former burlesque dancer, adding a touch of spice and humor to the show. Despite the glamorous nature of her character, Joyce Randolph's own life was marked by struggles. She faced challenges in her early career, with moments of personal and professional setbacks. While she found success in The Honeymooners, her personal life was less fortunate, marked by an unhappy marriage and a rocky relationship with her family. Joyce Randolph never remarried after her first marriage ended in divorce, and she lived a quiet, reclusive life later on. Despite her fame, she faced financial struggles and health problems as she grew older. Joyce Randolph passed away on January 13, 2024, at the age of 99. Her cause of death was not publicly disclosed. Jack Lescauley, born on November 17, 1912, played the role of himself as the announcer in The Honeymooners starting in 1955. At 43 years old, Jack brought his signature smooth voice to the show, serving as the professional announcer who introduced various segments of the series. Though known for his polished voice and calm demeanor, Jack's life off-screen was not without its share of turbulence. A series of personal failures and financial difficulties plagued him throughout his career. Despite his professional success, Jack faced a difficult personal life, with several failed relationships and an estranged family. He was married multiple times, but none of his marriages brought lasting happiness. His career slowly dwindled as he struggled with alcoholism, which led to the decline of his health. Jack Lescauley died on July 22, 1987, at the age of 74, reportedly due to complications related to alcohol abuse. Eddie Kane, born on August 12, 1889, was an actor who portrayed Mr. Monahan in The Honeymooners, a role he took on in 1956 when he was 67 years old. In the show, Mr. Monahan was Ralph Cramden's tough, no-nonsense boss at the Gotham Bus Company. Eddie Kane's later years in Hollywood were marked by struggles, as he faced both professional and personal challenges. While he had a long career in film and television, his later roles often came with diminishing returns, and he battled financial hardship for much of his life. A personal tragedy struck Eddie when he lost his wife to illness, leading to a period of deep depression. His financial troubles were compounded by his struggle with health issues, including a series of strokes. He was also reported to have been a heavy drinker, contributing to his physical decline. Eddie Kane passed away on April 30, 1969, at the age of 79, succumbing to a heart attack, which was a direct result of his years of poor health choices. Frank Marth, born on July 29, 1922, played Barney Dibble, a rough-around-the-edges character, in The Honeymooners starting in 1955 at the age of 33. Barney's role as a minor antagonist brought tension and drama to the otherwise lighthearted show. Frank's career was promising in the early years, but behind the scenes, his personal life was filled with sorrow. He married once, but his relationship was plagued by issues, ultimately leading to a painful divorce. His financial troubles added stress to his personal life, and his emotional health was further affected by the loss of significant roles in Hollywood. Frank struggled with alcohol addiction, which strained his relationships and made it harder for him to maintain a successful career. His health deteriorated over the years, and he faced several battles with depression. Despite these setbacks, Frank found solace in occasional television roles throughout his later years. He passed away on January 12, 2014, at the age of 91, after suffering from congestive heart failure and Alzheimer's disease. George Petri, born on November 16, 1912, portrayed Fred in The Honeymooners starting in 1955 when he was 43 years old. Fred was a minor yet memorable character, often seen interacting with the main cast, adding a layer of normalcy to the comedic chaos of the show. Although George was an established actor with a steady career, his personal life was filled with struggles. He was married twice, but both relationships were marred by difficulties. His first marriage ended in divorce after a series of emotional and financial strains. George also had a strained relationship with his only child, which contributed to his personal challenges. Professionally, while he found work in film and television, he was often typecast in supporting roles, which led to frustration. His later years were quiet and marked by increasing loneliness, compounded by his struggles with depression. George continued to work until the end of his life, but his final years were spent in relative seclusion. He passed away on November 16, 1997, at the age of 85. Les Damon, born on March 31, 1908, portrayed the city administrator in The Honeymooners starting in 1955, at the age of 47. The character he played was often the voice of authority, embodying the bureaucratic side of the city and frequently clashing with Ralph Kramden's unrefined approach. Les's life was full of highs and lows, both personally and professionally. He had a successful career in the early years, but his personal life was far from easy. His first wife passed away tragically, leaving him a widower with young children. His second marriage was also troubled and ended in divorce. The emotional strain of these relationships took a toll on Les's mental health, and his career suffered as a result. Although he continued to act, he was often relegated to smaller, less memorable roles. In his later years, Les struggled with health problems, including heart issues, which eventually led to his death. He passed away on July 21, 1962, at the age of 54, from a heart attack, marking the end of a life full of personal tragedy and professional triumphs. And Seymour, born on September 11, 1909, was a highly regarded actress who played the role of Mrs. Stevens in The Honeymooners, 1955. At the age of 46, she brought grace and refinement to the character, whose calm demeanor often contrasted with the louder personalities of the main characters. Seymour's early life was filled with struggles, including 2 failed marriages, both of which left emotional scars. She had a daughter from her first marriage, but their relationship was distant, with reports suggesting that Anne was emotionally distant and preoccupied with her career. As an actress, she had a successful career, but it was often marred by periods of financial instability. She worked steadily throughout the 1950s and 1960s but never reached the same level of fame as some of her peers. Her health began to decline in her later years, and she passed away from heart failure on December 8, 1988, at the age of 79, leaving behind a legacy of solid work in supporting roles but also a life marked by personal losses. Joseph Ruskin, born on April 14, 1924, brought warmth and humor to his role as a member of the Raccoon Lodge in The Honeymooners, 1955, a social club where Ralph Kramden and his friends often gathered. At 31, Ruskin had already established himself as a talented character actor, though his career was often defined by a series of steady but not groundbreaking roles. Ruskin's personal life, however, was less fulfilling. He married twice, with both marriages facing significant challenges. His first marriage ended in divorce, and though his second marriage lasted longer, it was reportedly fraught with tension and difficulties. He also faced the heartbreaking death of a close family member during the height of his career, an event that left him emotionally shattered. Ruskin's acting career remained steady, but his later years were marked by the feeling of unfulfilled potential, as he never quite broke through to leading roles. He passed away on December 28, 2013, at the age of 89, after leading a quiet and somewhat reclusive life in his final years, reflecting on both the triumphs and regrets of his life. John Holland, born on May 16, 1908, portrayed Tony Amico in The Honeymooners, 1955, a character often caught up in Ralph Kramden's schemes. Holland was 47 years old when he began playing Tony, a role that added humor and warmth to the show. While his acting career was steady, it was filled with personal hardships that shaped his later years. Holland married twice, but both of his marriages ended in divorce, leaving him heartbroken and emotionally burdened. His business ventures outside of acting were unsuccessful, leading to periods of financial strain. Professionally, he found himself pigeonholed into similar roles, which limited his opportunities for growth. The death of a close sibling, with whom he shared a strong bond, hit him particularly hard. Despite these personal setbacks, Holland continued to work in television, though he never achieved the fame or recognition he desired. He passed away on May 21, 1993, at the age of 85, leaving behind a body of work that was overshadowed by the more tragic aspects of his personal life. Betty Garde, born on September 19, 1905, portrayed Thelma, the maid in The Honeymooners, beginning in 1955 when she was 50 years old. Thelma was a secondary but memorable character who added humor to the series with her interactions with Ralph and Alice. Garde's life and career, however, were shadowed by personal struggles. Raised in a difficult environment, Gard was forced to fend for herself from an early age. Her early career was marked by stage performances, but her transition to television came with challenges, including the struggle to find roles that truly showcased her talent. In her personal life, Gard had a tumultuous marriage that ended in divorce, leaving her to raise her children alone. She was a mother to 2 children, but she had to deal with the difficulty of balancing her career and family life, which led to strain in her relationships. Her later years were marred by financial instability, and she struggled with the effects of aging. Gard passed away on December 25, 1989, at the age of 84. Ned Glass, born on April 1, 1906, took on the role of Teddy Oberman in The Honeymooners starting in 1955, when he was 49 years old. Teddy was a secondary character, a nervous, somewhat cowardly man who added an interesting dynamic to the show's vibrant ensemble. Glass, a seasoned character actor, faced numerous personal and professional struggles. His childhood was marked by poverty and the loss of his father at a young age, a fact that haunted him throughout his life. Professionally, he was often typecast in roles that showcased his nervous demeanor, but he struggled to break out of this mold. In his personal life, Glass experienced a painful divorce, which had a lasting effect on him emotionally and financially. He never remarried and had no children, which left him with a sense of isolation in his later years. Glass faced numerous health issues as he aged, and his career slowed down in the 1970s and 1980s. He passed away on June 15, 1984, at the age of 78 from heart failure. Ken Lynch, born on July 15, 1910, played a police officer in The Honeymooners starting in 1956, when he was 46 years old. Lynch's career in television and film was marked by his strong and authoritative presence, often portraying law enforcement officers, but behind this professional exterior was a man who faced several hardships in his personal life. Raised in a working-class family, Lynch was no stranger to hardship, and he worked tirelessly to establish his career in an industry that often limited opportunities for actors like him. Despite his success on screen, Lynch struggled with a series of failed relationships. His first marriage ended in divorce, and he found it difficult to maintain long-term personal connections, which led to feelings of loneliness. His financial situation was unstable at times, which added to the stress in his personal life. In his later years, Lynch battled health problems, including heart disease, which he struggled to manage. He passed away on February 13, 1990, at the age of 79. Bill Zuker, born on December 18, 1915, played the role of Mr. Garrity in The Honeymooners starting in 1956. At the age of 41, Bill brought the character to life with a blend of comedic timing and charm. Mr. Garrity was a regular character who found himself entangled in various antics with Ralph Kramden, often serving as a foil to the show's chaotic energy. Bill Zuker's personal life, however, was marked by considerable strife. Although he found professional success, his career was not always smooth, as he struggled to find significant roles after the show ended. In his personal life, he experienced 2 failed marriages, both of which ended in divorce. Bill also faced financial difficulties, with his career winding down as he aged. His relationship with his children was reportedly strained, with very little communication towards the end of his life. As he grew older, Bill Zuker battled with health problems, and his once vibrant career slowly faded away. He passed away on January 23, 1997, at the age of 81, succumbing to cancer and pneumonia. George Matthews, born on October 10, 1911, portrayed Harvey in The Honeymooners starting in 1956. He was 45 years old when he began his role as the tough and comedic Harvey, who had a memorable presence on the show. Although George had a successful run in television, his personal life was marked by numerous tragedies and misfortunes. His early life was shaped by poverty, and he struggled to make ends meet in his younger years. Despite his eventual success, George's career was plagued by bad decisions and missed opportunities, leaving him often relegated to minor roles after The Honeymooners. His marriage, too, was troubled, ending in divorce after several years of unhappiness. George's relationship with his children became strained, and he was later reported to have suffered from significant depression. In his later years, George faced declining health, suffering from heart disease and living alone, which deepened his feelings of loneliness. He passed away on November 7, 1984, at the age of 73, due to heart disease. George N. Nyes, born on February 16, 1917, played Mr. Faversham in The Honeymooners starting in 1956. At the age of 39, George brought a touch of elegance and wit to the character, who often interacted with the show's main characters in sophisticated ways. While his role in The Honeymooners was notable, George's personal and professional life was riddled with obstacles. He struggled with typecasting, often being confined to roles that didn't allow him to showcase his true range as an actor. Despite his early success, his career slowly withered as the years passed. His personal life was marred by the collapse of his marriage, and he faced immense hardship in the form of mental health struggles and depression. After his divorce, George became estranged from his children, which added to his feelings of isolation. Additionally, he faced financial instability later in life, with much of his income coming from sporadic television appearances. George N. Nyes passed away on April 14, 1996, at the age of 79, after battling cancer. Charles Corvin, born on November 21, 1907, played Carlos Sanchez in The Honeymooners starting in 1956 at the age of 49. Carlos was a smooth, charming Latin dance instructor who added a sense of elegance and humor to the otherwise everyday lives of the show's characters. Charles had a distinguished career in Hollywood but faced numerous personal hardships. He married twice, but both unions were fraught with difficulties, and his first wife tragically passed away under heartbreaking circumstances. His second marriage was short-lived, ending in divorce due to constant emotional tension and misunderstandings. Professionally, Charles was often overlooked for leading roles, despite his talents, which led to frustration in his later years. As he aged, he struggled with health issues, including a long battle with depression and loneliness, compounded by his lack of significant roles. Despite his misfortunes, Charles maintained a dignified presence in the entertainment industry until his death. He passed away on June 18, 1998, at the age of 90. Peter Laser, born on April 12, 1946, was only 10 years old when he portrayed Harvey Wallstetter Jr. in The Honeymooners starting in 1956. Harvey was a naive and curious young boy who added a touch of innocence to the comedy, capturing the audience's heart. Although Peter's acting career began at such a young age, his life off-screen was filled with turmoil. Peter's parents had a troubled marriage, which ended in a bitter divorce, leaving him to navigate childhood amidst emotional and financial challenges. His own relationships in adulthood were similarly rocky, marked by failed marriages and struggles to maintain a stable family life. Professionally, Peter faced difficulties transitioning from child actor to adult roles, which contributed to feelings of inadequacy and depression. He also battled addiction issues that further complicated his life. Despite his early fame, Peter's life was full of private pain. He passed away on November 14, 2008, at the age of 62, after a long battle with the effects of addiction and mental health struggles. Ronnie Burns, born on July 9, 1935, portrayed Wallace in The Honeymooners starting in 1956 at the age of 21. Wallace was a minor but memorable character, adding a youthful and charming presence to the sitcom. Ronnie's life, however, was far from the charming simplicity of his character. He grew up under the shadow of his famous father, George Burns, which created immense pressure and expectations. His relationship with his father was strained, as George was often distant and more focused on his career than on family matters. Ronnie married twice, but both of his marriages were marked by heartbreak, as both ended in divorce. His personal life was also overshadowed by a series of health issues, including a long and painful battle with cancer, which ultimately claimed his life. Ronnie's career never fully lived up to the promise of his early days on The Honeymooners, and he struggled with finding his identity outside of his father's fame. He passed away on November 14, 2007, at the age of 72, due to cancer, a tragic end for a man who had once been in the spotlight. Lis Saurin, born on September 23, 1893, was 63 years old when he portrayed Mr. Manicotti in The Honeymooners, 1956. His character was a memorable part of the show, providing humor and charm through his interactions with the main cast. Saurin's life, however, was far from easy. He had a tumultuous relationship with his family, marked by his separation from his first wife after years of personal and professional tension. Despite having 2 children, Saurin was estranged from them due to his demanding career and emotional distance. His financial struggles also added to the strain, as he was often faced with periods of unemployment. Saurin was known for his tendency to drink heavily, a coping mechanism for his personal and career setbacks. He passed away on December 14, 1961, at the age of 68, after suffering from liver complications related to years of alcoholism. Frank Behrens, born on February 15, 1919, played Bert Wiedemeyer in The Honeymooners starting in 1956, when he was 37 years old. Bert was a minor character, adding layers to the show's portrayal of ordinary, everyday characters. Frank's life, much like his role in the show, was often overshadowed by the turmoil of his personal struggles. Frank had a difficult childhood, growing up in a broken family, and later faced multiple failed relationships in adulthood. His marriage ended in a bitter divorce, which left him emotionally scarred. Professionally, Frank's career never took off as he had hoped, and his roles were often minor, leading to frustrations and feelings of underachievement. Later in life, Frank became reclusive, battling both physical and emotional issues. His personal hardships and lack of major career successes left him feeling disillusioned and lonely. He passed away on December 15, 1986, at the age of 67, after a long period of ill health, marking the end of a life full of personal disappointments and missed opportunities. Warren Parker, born on February 25, 1904, was 52 years old when he began his role as Richard Pewter in The Honeymooners, 1956. His character added to the humor and charm of the show, often providing interactions that highlighted the eccentricities of the main cast. However, Parker's life was marked by personal struggles. He had 2 failed marriages, the first ending in a bitter divorce, and the second, although lasting longer, was riddled with infidelities and emotional strain. He had 1 child, a daughter, but their relationship was strained as Parker's career took precedence over his family life. In his later years, he faced financial difficulties, and his career as an actor stalled, with fewer roles coming his way. His health deteriorated after he was diagnosed with several chronic conditions, including heart disease. Warren Parker passed away on July 31, 1976, at the age of 72 due to complications from heart failure. Ray Bloch, born on August 3, 1902, was 53 years old when he took on the role of the bandleader in The Honeymooners, 1955. Ray's character brought an extra musical dimension to the show, adding charm to its comedic moments. Bloch's personal life, however, was marked by several tragedies. He married 3 times, but none of these marriages lasted. His first wife left him after several years due to his erratic behavior and long working hours, and his second marriage ended tragically with the early death of his wife. Bloch also had a strained relationship with his children, with one of his sons becoming estranged from him due to the emotional toll his career took on their family. Professionally, Bloch was well regarded as a bandleader, but he never achieved the lasting fame he desired, often feeling overshadowed by others in the entertainment industry. He passed away on March 29, 1982, at the age of 79 after battling various health issues, including heart disease. Victor Rendina, born on December 28, 1916, was 39 years old when he played the role of the barber in The Honeymooners, 1955. His character, though a minor part in the show, contributed to the portrayal of everyday life in the neighborhood, adding a touch of realism. Rendina's personal life was deeply impacted by personal loss and career challenges. He had a brief marriage that ended in divorce, leaving him emotionally scarred. Although he remarried later in life, his second marriage was filled with tension and eventual separation. Rendina struggled with addiction to prescription medication, which began as a way to cope with the pressures of his acting career and personal losses. His health deteriorated rapidly as a result, and he faced financial instability due to the diminishing roles in his later years. Victor Rendina passed away on July 8, 1985, at the age of 68 from complications related to his addiction and health issues. Who is your favorite character from The Honeymooners? How do you feel knowing that some of the actors have passed away? Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this content, please remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you won't miss future videos. Thank you so much.